Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to do some book spreads. I'm updating my reading journal and I read 9 books. Some were novellas, some were full books, but my focus this month was Blackathon. It was a readathon by Bowties and Books, who I think they just changed their name to Just See on YouTube. And it's just a yearly Blackathon that has different categories and different themes. This year was warriors, and there were different teams based on female warriors in history. So I chose Team Granny Nanny, and there was enough other teams too that I ended up kind of doing as well, but without like low pressure. So I did Team Granny Nanny. And the themes were main character with magical powers or magical abilities, a main character who is mixed race, a book set on an island or Jamaica itself, and then a book that has a tight-knit group or unlikely allies. So the first book that I read in February was a novella collection that got all put together. It was the Binti novella collection. There were like 3 of them with I think like a couple short stories also in between, and I read them all by Nandi Okorafor, which Nandi Okorafor, she is a little hit and miss for me, honestly. Sometimes I like her stuff and sometimes I don't. But this one was actually really, really good. It's about the main character. She has math powers, math magic. Like she can see math. I know it sounds really strange, but yeah, she can see how things work and how things function using math, and she can like see it. And things happen to her, but it's set in a world where you can go in space and there are aliens and there are different like tribes of people in this universe. And I guess her tribe is very old school. They don't leave their town. They don't go anywhere. They kind of stick with the status quo. And she was the first one who wanted to like leave and go somewhere else, which was very like frowned upon. So she got accepted to a interstellar college, and she goes, and on her way there, her ship gets attacked by these jellyfish creatures who like kill everybody on the ship except her. And so she has to deal with the trauma of that, and then she realizes that she has become part of this jellyfish people. Like her hair turns into jellyfish tentacles. It's really, really cool and hard to explain, but her journey over the 3 books, she like realizes that she has more than one kind of magic, and she slowly but surely almost absorbs the traits of other people, and she's basically trying to stop a war between these jellyfish people and the another tribe of human. So there's lots of what makes humanity, what makes you good or evil. Is it all a misunderstanding? Why do we fight? Because the people who the jellyfish people are fighting were like, I would equate them to like colonizers, like old school colonizers from back in the day who like to like go out and conquer everybody and stuff like that. And these jellyfish people were like, nah. So she kind of brings all these different people together, and she slowly but surely transforms into like different species. It's really cool. It reminds me a lot of Octavia Butler's Xenogenesis series. The first book started out really, really good, the first novella, and then as the story went along, it kind of faltered for me, but it was still one of my favorites of the month. And I read a lot. So usually I read like 9 or 10 books a month, sometimes more, sometimes less. I read 9 this month. But I usually only make like scrapbooky spreads or things like that with books that resonate with me that I think about long after. So I had 2 books that I really, really liked. And so the spread you're seeing now is Jackal. And Jackal is about a woman who comes home to her hometown that's kind of notoriously kind of segregated and also racist. And she kind of leaves her hometown to like, be better and get out of, because it's a very small town where people kind of are set in their ways and very stuck. So she goes to New York, but she ends up getting into a really abusive relationships, and her best friend is getting married, so she has to go home for the wedding right after she broke up with her abusive boyfriend. So she is emotionally not great. And then at the wedding, her best friend's daughter goes missing in the woods. And there's this like urban legend in this town about, don't go in the woods after dark. If you think you saw something in your woods, you didn't. Don't if somebody calls your name, don't follow it, because it's going to obviously be like the boogeyman in the woods. And so her best friend's daughter gets taken, and it's basically her trying to solve a mystery in this town, because basically every year a black girl goes missing, and it's been going on for 20-30 years and nobody has done anything about it. So it's basically like a social commentary about how different we treat people based on color and things, and class as well, but framed in a kind of horror supernatural way, because you come to realize that there's a kind of supernatural element to the story as well, while she's trying to figure out why all these girls keep going missing and how to save her friend's daughter. And what I really, really liked about it was just the fact that it used the story to talk about some really heavy subjects, but not in a preachy way, and not in a way that made me feel like the author was on a soapbox, because there are sometimes you have to be able to kind of do the social commentary thing in a way that doesn't sound like I'm being lectured or beat over the head with somebody's opinion or philosophy. And I think this book did a really good job of that. Also, I don't really like horror type books, but this one was actually really, really good. I like the kind of genre blending, because this was kind of thriller, mystery, horror with some, not magical realism, but like legit, there's some supernatural stuff going on. So it really kind of ticked all my boxes, because I don't like straight up horror, and I don't read a lot of it, but this kind of reminded me of one of my other favorite books, which I'll never stop talking about, which is Sorrowland by River Solomon, because that took place in the woods with somebody supernatural and conspiracies and all sorts of things. And it was so many different genres and so different from anything I had ever read. And Jackal was very much the same. It was very different from anything I had ever read. And the main character struggles with her racial identity, because her mom, I think, came from Haiti, I want to say. And a lot of times when you get like first, second generation kids, you feel like you have to prove yourself. You feel like sometimes you lose your connection to like your roots, and they're in America now, so she was looked at as like a black girl with certain expectations of what she was supposed to be like. And I'm a biracial kid. Yeah, I'm half white, half black, and I remember people, I never fit in with anybody because my mom is white and my dad is black, and I never really fit in with either one because I was obviously brown. So, I didn't fit in with the white kids. And I also didn't fit in with the black kids because they would say things like I talk white and things like that. And the character in this book dealt with the exact same things I did. And so it just resonated with me a lot more because there were some things that she wrote in like the author or the character experienced that almost verbatim exactly happened to me growing up. So I liked it. There was lots of stars, theme, and woods, and the main character, Liz, loved constellations. So this spread, I did lots of kind of stars, and I found this picture in a magazine that had like purple dark trees, and I just thought it was a perfect representation of kind of being scared in the dark woods. I didn't do too much with these, honestly, because I don't know, my brain I was not in it. I did draw some of the characters without filming them, just to so the video wouldn't be too long. And this is me going back to my Binti spread because I wanted to add some extra details. I tried to put some like equations around the side, but I don't do math, so I just did some random, E equals MC squared, A squared plus B squared equals C, like like the Pythagorean theorem. I finally used it in my real life, guys. So I just drew the main character, Binti, and in her tribe they put mud on their face, and it's like a sacred ritual. So I drew some like mud on her face, and her dreadlocks, her braids turn into tentacles, so I tried to draw that. And then I drew like the jellyfish creature because she actually ends up being friends with one of them. So I drew that, and they kind of have gas in their bodies, so I try to do little swirlies to look like gas. But I'm not really good at drawing jellyfish, so that was kind of the best I could do. But usually these spreads I like to just write my thoughts. I don't really review books. I just write how I feel about them and what I liked about them. Some honorable mentions, which I did make spreads about, but I did like The Black Flamingo is a YA book about a mixed race boy who lives in the UK who's like half Greek, half Jamaican, I think. And he it's like a coming of age story. He goes to college, he discovers that he's gay and that he wants to dress in drag, and he writes poetry, and it's all written in verse, which is really, really cool. and I read it in one night. And then another one that I really, really liked was Given by Nandy Taylor. I ended up only giving it like a 3, but I liked the magical system. I liked the characters, but I just felt like how the story was written was just too much. Too much went on. It was longer than it needed to be, but its magical system was really cool. Plus, you can't go wrong with shape-shifting dragons and, fated mates. And I did like that the main character in a fantasy was black, so there's that. And then, so after I finish up this spread, I just do like a little flip through and then show you what I'm doing in March. So I didn't really keep up with my Did I Read Today tracker because I read every day, so it's kind of dumb to track it. And that was just, how I did with Blackathon. I did pretty good. I did 3 out of the 4 prompts in my team, and then I actually did 4 out of the 8 prompts in the other teams, so I'm happy with that. And then this is my March spread. I wanted to do green and Harry Potter means Slytherin, so, and then I also just simplified it for this month. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.